perfect. So first of all, so what do you do for a living?
I'm a consultant in Oslo at Sienta. I'm currently consulting for the Norwegian tax authority, where we build the tax application that sends you the big bill of the year.
Cool. Very important job.
Yeah, it is.
So I know that you have also some activities on the side. So what do you do? Like you run Java Zone?
Yeah, I don't run jobs, and
Oh.
I'm
Part of
one
the
of the I'd say more active people there. I do the program committee there. So for every year we just start another round. We open the call for papers next week.
Yeah.
And yeah, in September we'll have our 17th edition.
Cool. Any other work that you do for open source
Yeah,
projects?
and of course I do the ByteBuddy library, which is a code generation framework for Java for the JVM, and I'm very involved in the Mockito framework, which is based on ByteBuddy, and also do some other. I'm involved a bit in Hibernate, do some work there, and help out here and there. I'm also helping out people to build Java agents a lot, which is yeah basically used for performance monitoring or for security interception, and a lot of tooling related work, right?
So if people have questions around that, they can reach out to you.
Absolutely.
And,
find
on
me on
Twitter?
Twitter and find me on GitHub, and I'm always happy to chat because that's how I build my library. I talk to people who have problems, and then I try to solve it for everybody.
Cool.
Yeah.
So you had a session also about event sourcing
Yes.
in microservices. So what did you cover in that session?
That's basically an experience report from my work at Skatteetaten in Norway. I was fortunate enough to build an application for them with a team, and we chose event-sourced architecture. And the thing is that in Java, it's not very established yet, so event sourcing is fairly new, and we didn't really know what we were going into. So I learned a lot, and I tried to share this experience and also show a bit how you can approach it. And yeah, we built a small framework that I hope to open source in the future that does event sourcing, and yeah, it does in the way that we found it reasonable. And that's basically what the talk was about, a summary of all the findings.
Okay. So what are some of the key findings, right? Or some
Yeah.
of the things that you think people should know? And
Well, event sourcing, like all new approaches, I mean, event sourcing isn't even new, but it's rediscovered again. But it has a lot of appealing features. But once you do it, you'll find very quickly out what are the disadvantages of this architectural style and what are the problems you are also buying into. And key findings is that basically that it's not easier than building a non-event sourced application. You get good things, but you also get bad things. State management is very difficult with event sourced applications because despite you having all the events that led to a decision, it is sometimes difficult to keep an overview. If you have millions and millions of events, you must rely on some form of automation of this event processing. So it's not that you can go into your production system and fix everything. So basically, a lot what I talked about is how you retain reliability and how you can get some good properties like self-healing. Like if you fix a bug that affects event processing, how do you get the old events that are already processed? How do you get these old events reprocessed without breaking the model of state immutability that you have for certain event points in the event queue? And I think this is that at least I intended to portray in an understandable fashion. And yeah, and showed just a bit of how we tackled that and how it turned out.
so do you show codes? I mean, do you have an example that you walked through?
Yeah,
or-
very little. I show
Okay.
like some approaches, but it's more the concept. I think if you like listen to how we built our event sourcing, then you can easily re-implement it.
Okay.
But as mentioned, I really hope that I can open source it. It's still a closed framework these days because there's nothing special in it, and there's no real reason to keep it internal. But we just didn't walk through the process. But I show some snippets and then how you handle, especially the persistence. We built our event store around an Oracle database, and relational databases aren't necessarily built for this kind of usage. So you have to do some treatment to not mess up statistics on the tables and these sort of things. And how to get the queries efficiently running with query planning, and I talk a bit about that, not so much software, actual compilable source code, but more the ideas. Yeah.
Okay. So, any key questions that you get every time you do this presentation?
Um, no,
Things.
yeah, I think, I mean, people ask how performance is often a big question because the model we chose doesn't scale very well on writes, which is an active decision we made. So we don't distribute our event store, um, which loses you total store order, and which is a nice property to have if you reprocess events. Um, and and then of course it's the scaling issues and the performance issues are, I'd say, the most requested um, information. But it's difficult to talk about because it depends very much on how big your events are, what your constraints are, and that's why I think the concept of building an event source application is more important than a framework, because these questions have a wide scope of possible solutions, which all have their advantages and disadvantages, and you have to choose for yourself. But in the enterprise, you normally do not have so high scaling requirements compared to if you're building like a web page that does like live event processing, then you have to be like focusing on latencies and throughput. But normally, if you get your tax card 1 hour later, for example, it doesn't really matter to you because it's all happening in the background and automated. So you can wait in the worst case.
So, do you blog about this, or any
Uh,
information that people can find online?
yeah, I gave the talk before, and it's such a long talk that I never fit it into the God-given 45 minutes that information in the software space has to be presented in. So I try to break up into certain areas and focus on them more. So if you find a talk in other conferences, it's still a bit of a different talk because I cover other areas. But yeah, I'm working a bit on that. It's not entirely my base activity, since I'm involved in so many low-level things on the JVM. But I try to expand on it because it doesn't seem related. But since the architectural style is a bit following the hardware needs and the modern deployment models, like with Kubernetes and microservices, event sourcing makes much more sense um, than it has like just 10 years ago when you still had like a big monolith and deployed in a single instance, right? So it is all connected in the end. The architecture follows the low level work. So through the lines, if you look there, you can see how those hang together. So I'll try to expand in the space.
Okay, so I'll link to the session because I think
Yeah.
it was recorded.
Yeah,
So
brilliant. Thank you.
thank you so much, Rafael.
Thanks for having
Thank you.
me.